Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey. Today is November 8th, 2018. It is 8:35 p.m. I apologize, we're starting late. Our closed session and the caucus meeting went a little extra long. We had a lot of work to do. Madam Clerk, may I please have the roll call?
Mayor Kranjak?
Here.
Councilperson Zaversa? Here. E. Park? Here. O? Here. O'Shea? Here. M. Park?
Yes.
Wu?
Here.
Borough Attorney?
Present.
Borough Administrator?
Here.
Public Works Superintendent? And Borough Clerk. Everyone is present.
Thank you. Please all rise for the flag salute and remain standing after. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to have a moment of silence for the 13 victims of the Ventura County shooting last night, especially Ventura County Sheriff Ron Hollis. Also a moment of silence for the Tree of Life Synagogue shooting victims in Pittsburgh. And also a moment of silence for the North Ogden, Utah Mayor Brent Taylor. He died in the service of the U.S. military in Afghanistan. And if anyone else wishes to add anybody, please do so. Thank you. I just want to remind everyone that we're having a Veterans Day observance on Sunday, November 11th at 11 a.m. at Veterans and Fallen Heroes Park on West Bellevue Avenue. This marks the 100th anniversary of the end of World War I, which claimed 20 million lives. That started on July 28, 2014. So we wanted to do it on Sunday, hoping that more people could join us and that children could also join. So please come. Tomorrow is the Marine Corps birthday, so any Marine Corps veterans here, I know there's some in the police department, I wish you a happy 243rd birthday. The Marine Corps was actually founded in a tavern in Philadelphia in 1775. Madam Clerk, would you please read into the record the Open Public Meetings Act statement?
Adequate notice of this meeting was given to the press and posted as required. Date and time of this meeting was legally given as required by the Open Public Meetings Act. This notice is on file with the municipal clerk and posted on the bulletin board. Minutes of this meeting will be made available to the public upon the completion of typing and proofreading by the municipal clerk.
Thank you for that. Just want to remind everyone also that our borough charity project, the Office of Concerned Food Pantry Collection, is taking place out in the foyer. We do this before, during, and after every regular meeting. So if you can, please donate some non-perishable food items. People ask me why I do this. It's because we have to help people who are less fortunate than us. And also, I want to feel like we actually accomplish something at these meetings that's tangible and noble and helps other people despite all the problems that we may encounter here in our meeting. So join me, please, in doing that. We have correspondence. The superintendent of schools of Englewood Cliffs, Jennifer Brewer, Dr. Jennifer Brewer now. If you see her, congratulate her. She just got her PhD, actually. Big shout out to Jennifer. I think that's great. She had approached me back in August about meeting with the Board of Education regarding school safety. Chief Chaffee and I attended that meeting on September 5th. Different school safety scenarios were presented to us then, and their board wanted to have more of an opportunity to consider armed guards versus non-armed guards, police department, non-police department. Chief Chaffee and I, who don't agree on a lot of things, actually agreed on the fact that if you're going to have armed guards, they should be part of the Englewood Cliffs Police Department. Anyone carrying a gun in this borough for law enforcement should be part of that police department. And then the issue is, how do you do that? And we received a public statement that was read at the Board of Education meeting. I guess it was the last meeting they had, either last week or earlier this week, basically saying that they want to have armed school resource officers. I think there's a way to do it. We need to hire police officers in town, which we're doing. Despite what, you may have read in the campaign materials, we are actually doing that. We envisioned something along these lines, and it's just kind of early on. I just want the council members to think about this, because you're going to have to be voting in the future on this. One armed police officer at each school. All officers will be trained in school resource officer duties. We'll rotate them through in non-school days, and when school's out, they'll join the regular patrol. So I think that will accomplish everyone's goals. The finances, of course, haven't been worked out. You know what I want to do, and you know what the Board of Ed wants to do, so we'll want to do, because they haven't actually presented anything yet. We'll be talking to them about it and find some fair formula that deals with the finances. There's a letter from Eric M. Bernstein and Associates, LLC. It's privileged and confidential, so that's not here. By the way, the school superintendent's statement, I think is on their website if you want to see it. In any event, our borough clerk has a copy if you want to get it from her. I'd also add, I get a lot of mail, and a lot of it is, not surprisingly, hate mail. If you don't sign it, I'm not going to read it. So if you want to hate me in writing, sign your name to it, and at least let me know who you are. It's fine. Just tell me what you feel. I mean, that's all about our democracy, is I don't care what you say to me. If you have a view, sign your name to it if you're really feeling that comfortable about what you're saying. It's fine. We encourage people to come up here and say things, and sometimes it's hurtful, but, I do listen. But if you're not going to sign your name, then there's no point reading it. It goes right in the garbage. Don't even bother opening it. Before we go to before we go to the public portion, I just want to tell you what we did in the new business in the caucus, so that you know what we discussed, okay? So I'm going back to the caucus agenda. I'm going to run through, number one, we're selecting a date for a special meeting for the end of November. It'll be November 28th at 8 p.m., subject to availability of Lieutenant Hill, who is now the officer in charge. I wanted him to have an opportunity to sit in closed session with our council to just tell them more about himself and his views of how the police department should be managed. I think he's done a phenomenal job since October 11th. He's lifted morale, and he's also reinstated a very strong sense of professionalism and discipline in the police department, so I'm very proud of him for doing that in such adverse circumstances.
And Mayor, I just need to observe that in that closed session, should that closed session occur, it's also for the purpose of contract negotiations, because the OIC is serving in a title of which he's not receiving a salary. So that needs to be addressed by the mayor and council with the resolution at some point.
The second new business item, and thank you for that, Emery. The second new business item was discussion of creation of ad hoc committee for affordable housing. We have a affordable housing trial coming up at the end of January. There's a lot of work to be done, and I think that there are people in this audience and on this dais that could be helpful to the process. So I would want to create an ad hoc committee comprised of Gloria O., Ellen Park, Russell Perino, Carol McMorrow, and Jamie Barbario, and I'm an ex officio member. The next thing on the agenda is what I call Whitty Field repairs and renovations. I met recently with the Little League Board. There are some safety issues regarding their infield, which would take about $15,000 to $20,000 to correct. I'm supportive of that. We just need to properly vet out what needs to be done there. Then, if you want to look at this in stages, I want to do the renovation of the park. We have the worst park facilities, I think, in most of New Jersey at this point, let alone Bergen County, because it's just not workable, the way that park is. So I want to go back to the plan that Mazer did. We'll modify it to satisfy everyone as best as we can. renovating it with, by and large, natural grass fields is what I think we'll do, but we should have at least one segment for turf fields, so at least if it rains, people can still have their children playing some type of activity on a turf field that drains much better. I'd like to have a band shell, pavilions, and yes, lights as well. Traffic issues, the next one up is school safety. I already discussed that earlier in the correspondence section. Traffic issues is number 5. The residents of Van Nostrand are very concerned about the LG building and the impact on traffic. I had discussed this earlier with LG and our engineering firm, that we would somehow grant them access to turn north onto 9W from Van Nostrand by having bollards installed that retract and go back up once they pass if you're a resident or an emergency vehicle. Making a left from Van Nostrand onto Hudson Terrace is virtually impossible. It will become even more impossible once LG's building is online. So we're working on taking care of that problem. And I've seen it done in other communities where residents have special basic garage door openers that let the bollards go up and down as they pass through. No one else can go. Also, Jamie's been reaching out to the Palisade Interstate Park Commission regarding an additional on-ramp onto 9W up by CNBC to alleviate that morning traffic that we all seem to hit, and it'll only get worse once LG's there and the brownstone opens. So anyone who's not really stopping in town can just jump on the Parkway there and not have to wait at the light. So I think that'll make everyone much happier. 6 and 7 are self-explanatory, and then there was an 8th item, which was a notation regarding best practices for inventory. Emery, do you want to add anything to that?
Best practices inventory will be considered by the mayor and council at the December regular meeting of the mayor and council.
Okay, thank you. So now, I'd like to open to the public. Have a motion to do so.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, if there's anyone from the public who wishes to be heard, please raise your hand. Let me recognize you. Come up to the microphone at this desk, state your name and address, and just tell us what you want to say. Yes.
Lauren Eastwood, 4 Willow Drive. Councilwoman Aversa, at the October 23rd special meeting, you said that the charges against Chief Chaffee had been dismissed. I've been at every council meeting, and I don't remember the council taking that action. It's not on the borough's videotape either. When exactly did the council vote to dismiss the charges against Chief Chaffee? The 3 of them all abstained because the charges were dismissed. I would like an answer.
They don't have to answer you, and you could infer whatever you want from their silence.
What I'm inferring is that something very improper was done. And for people who are campaigning on reducing litigation, that's certainly not the way to go. At the October 10th regular meeting, Sergeant Totten spoke on behalf of the PBA. Sergeant Totten expressed no contrition, no remorse, and offered no apology. Is this amusing, Councilwoman O? Instead, all Sergeant Totten was concerned about was ensuring that the PBA members avoid any consequences for their bad behavior. I believe that Englewood Cliffs currently has a police department that thinks racism is acceptable, that sexually explicit discussions are acceptable in the workplace, and most disturbingly, that its members are above the law and can do whatever they want without repercussion. Englewood Cliffs needs a police department that understands that its members must separate their police responsibility from their politics. I don't think the Englewood Cliffs Police Department, especially its chief and captains, is willing or capable of doing so. The New Jersey Attorney General's Internal Affairs Policies and Procedures Requirement 5 states, "The agency must notify complainants of the outcome of the investigation. A letter shall be sent to the complainant explaining the outcome of the investigation. If the allegation was unfounded or the officer was exonerated, this conclusion shall be stated and defined for the civilian complainant. If the allegation was not sustained, the letter shall provide the complainant with a brief explanation why the complaint was not sustained, e.g., insufficient proof, lack of witnesses, etc. If the allegation was sustained and discipline was imposed, the letter shall simply state that the allegation was sustained and that the officer has been disciplined according to department procedures." Compliance with that requirement makes it impossible for police departments to ignore citizen complaints. However, in the past year, I've made 2 complaints to the Englewood Cliffs Police Department. The first, on November 9th, 2017, concerned an officer's apparently unauthorized access to and disclosure of another officer's medical information, an action which exposed Englewood Cliffs taxpayers to substantial liability. The second, on May 2nd, 2018, concerned an email sent by the EC Police Department, quote, unquote, the day before last year's election, endorsing Etta Versa and Gloria O. To date, a year after the first complaint and 6 months after the second complaint was filed, I have not been advised of the outcome of either complaint. Finally, Chief Chaffee was deposed on July 24th, 2018. In his deposition, which I downloaded from Pacer, which is accessible to anyone who signs up, Chief Chaffee testified that there are 5 officers assigned to Internal Affairs: Captain Regan, Captain Murphy, Lieutenant Henkelman, Lieutenant McDermott, and Sergeant Totten. With 5 officers in Internal Affairs, I don't understand why I don't have an answer to a complaint a year after it was filed, particularly since I gave them all the documents. Finally, and this is the most disturbing part, in this deposition, Chief Chaffee took the Fifth Amendment 12 times. I do not believe it is appropriate for a police officer to remain on duty and on the public payroll if they have done things which they feel they cannot answer questions about for fear of ending up in jail. And I think it is time that Chief Chaffee be fired so that the taxpayers are not paying his salary.
Anybody else wishing to be heard? Yes.
Dave DiGregorio, 165 Charlotte Place. I would like to encourage the council to begin to bury the hatchet. Drop all charges against anyone they have charges against. And I would encourage everyone in town to a new beginning, where we have none of this litigation. We were called the litigation capital of New Jersey. I think everyone needs to look deeply inside themselves, be the bigger person, and drop it and concentrate on other things that can help our community. It's enough of this very costly infighting. It's enough of this very bad feelings that are hurting people. And I honestly feel that the entire council should turn the page to a new beginning. It's for efficiency, it's for goodwill, and it's the right thing to do. All of this has been gnawing at people, probably making people physically sick, and I don't think it's healthy for anybody on either side. So I implore everyone to just stop and start again in a positive way. Thank you.
Anybody else wishing to be heard? Yes.
Carol McMorrow, 49 Summit Street. I'm glad Mr. DiGregorio went before I did, and just want to let you know that the mayor and I got sued again by Chief Chaffee, and it was sent to us on November 5th. I would assume Mr. DiGregorio's comments also go to members of the Democratic Party. The most interesting part here is that only the mayor and I, only Republicans were sued. Councilman Consalvo, Councilman Park, myself, and the mayor. I was sued for retaliation because I played tapes at a public meeting that were public at the time that I was allowed to play, where I was the victim, yet I harassed the chief because I told the truth about sexual harassment, and I told the truth about racist comments, and I told the truth that he threatened my life, yet I harassed him. That's on number 88. On number 91, he's suing me, even though I resigned on October 1st, that on October 10th, even though Councilman Aversa is the one that made certain motions, that he was placed on administrative leave without pay. I can't understand how I could be sued for something that I wasn't even on the council for, and I didn't even make the motion, but let's just sue Republicans and, not the Democrats that actually made the motions. I just find that very ironic. Obviously, this is a frivolous lawsuit. Again, I have no doubt in my mind it's going to be dismissed against me again, as the first two were, and I'm sure the judge is not going to be happy with Chief Chaffee's lawyer or Chief Chaffee when she reads this garbage. That's number one. Okay, number two, I wanted to bring to everyone's attention, this came in the mail, and it came from, the video can see it, it came from Councilwoman O, Councilwoman Park, and Councilman Aversa. It's a nice long letter, but the most interesting part was this paper that came with it, which is an Excel spreadsheet of this, God knows where this number came from, of $1.8 million, costing us 10% of the budget. But when I saw this, I kept looking at it saying, I know I saw this from somewhere, and I couldn't remember it. There was also another version of this Excel chart, and that was given to me that looked like this. So this is vertical, and this is horizontal. All of a sudden, it dawned on me where I saw these charts. I can tell you where I saw these charts. I saw these charts from a document that was prepared by the borough clerk, Miss Duffy, given to Ellen Park, and here is the email. It's dated June 11th. It was a request, this was given as a request under a council person. And I just want to show you the chart, okay? You can see the chart, and so it's the same chart
So,
as...
excuse me 1 second, I'll just caution, even though you're not a council member, if you receive that as a council member, it's a confidential thing.
I made my own spreadsheet, by the way.
No, I'm not talking.
You can't share this.
All I'm saying,
you can't see what's on it. I'm just showing you that it's a vertical document. It's
Put
a
it on the
vertical...
video.
Order, please. Order.
Excuse me, but they sent it to the entire town. I'm bringing it to your attention that Councilman Aversa, Councilwoman O, and Councilwoman Park sent out confidential information that she received to the entire town. What I want to also show you is that this document that looks like this in a horizontal manner was also printed and prepared the first time by the borough clerk this way. So what a coincidence. We have two documents, one horizontal, the second one was vertical, both prepared by the clerk, then requested by Ellen Park. Then it goes out to the town, and, wow, what a surprise, they embellish it. They embellish it to make it look like we have all these lawsuits that we don't really have. They list the same lawsuit 3 to 4 times, over and over. They list lawsuits, the Michael McMorrow versus James Tracy. I hate to, remind you guys, it was filed in 2000, look at the three of them don't even pick their head up to pay attention to what anybody is saying. It's outrageous. Then you want to know why they send information out, and they violate their fiduciary duties. The Michael McMorrow lawsuit versus James Tracy, that's a personal lawsuit, guys. It's a personal lawsuit. It's for defamation. Shouldn't be on the list. Excuse me. Stop yelling out. I think it's outrageous that sitting council members embellish lists of lawsuits for political gains to make a certain party look bad. And quite frankly, I think you violated your code of ethics, and I will be calling the DCA on all three of you. That's the second. And if your campaign had to do with it, then I guess that will be looked into, because you ran on integrity, and you two have law licenses. I think you should be careful in how you act in letting confidential information out. That's number 2. Number 3, these beautiful brochures that you put out, about 800 something, about the 52-unit complex, 5-story, enabled, new plan for 5-story, 52-unit, enabled. Enabled means that we helped them. We never helped anyone. These flyers that you put together are filled with lies. You did... What is so funny, Ellen?
I just have the arrow in my head that keeps following me everywhere, so that's why I'm laughing.
Okay, well, you know what, you can respond afterwards. Please don't be rude to me,
Yeah, okay.
okay?
All right,
We did not support-
Sorry. Folks, can you just stop discussing things back there? If you have to have a conversation, just go outside. No one cares. Come back when you're done.
So we have a discussion here about a 52-unit apartment complex. Then we have a statement stating, and by the way, this is the Sabari and Song campaign literature. Then we have a statement that we ordered that any new construction on 5 or more units include affordable housing. Ellen, Gloria, and Ed, you all know why the set-aside ordinance was asked for. For you to misrepresent facts to the public, critical facts that were necessary to be dealt with for our litigation, for your own personal, self-serving goals, is outrageous. I cannot understand how you will stoop to any level to just win an election when we are facing one of the biggest litigations ever before in this town with 800 Sylvan. Why would you compromise anything having to do with our strategies to win a campaign? Councilman Aversa, do you have an answer for that? Councilwoman Park? Do you have an answer for that? Councilwoman O. Okay, no answer. I just want to remind all of you that on January 22nd, we're going into court. And the gentleman in the back from Beatty Padavano is watching everything that you guys do. And anything that you do could harm this borough if it divulges information for our strategy, if it misrepresents facts to the public that they can then go to a judge and use against us. This is a really serious matter. This should not be Republican and Democrat. We should be a unified town on this matter. And Deborah Sabari and Jimmy Song are just as guilty as the three of you, because they approved this, whether they saw it or they didn't see it. You know, that's for them to state later. Their name's on it. And if something goes wrong with that litigation, the 5 of you will be held responsible for playing politics with the most serious matter facing this town. Okay? I encourage everybody and by the way, this separation here with the 2 sides of the room, this is pathetic. Pathetic. That people can't sit on either side with each other. We're one town. This has got to stop, okay? People need to be nice to each other. Enough is enough. Stop laughing at me.
You say that right after you just attacked us?
But I'm talking to you. Listen to me. You're not
election is
listening.
over.
Please don't attack the resident.
This meeting is not about you showing us our political pieces,
Because
okay?
you hurt us, Councilwoman.
What about you?
hurt
You
the
call me
town.
a racist.
Order,
I am not a
order, please.
racist,
All right,
okay?
please.
That is not what I said,
It's
and
a
don't take
two-way
words
street.
out of my mouth. Don't attack me.
Are you done now? Are you done? Are you done now?
All right, please stop.
Two-way street.
Stop yelling at the
Stop being
resident.
political.
Councilwoman O, stop
I'm getting tired of
yelling
it.
at the
You're
resident.
really rude, Gloria.
What about you?
Councilwoman O, stop yelling at the resident.
You're yelling at me, and you always yell at me.
Everybody knows she's not just a resident. Everybody knows in town she's
Seriously.
There's no distinction.
Now, you want to be on the ad hoc committee? Is that what it is?
I'm not a resident.
Enough. She's a resident. You have to respect residents when they come here.
Absolutely. Everybody, including the mayor.
The other
Well,
thing you
this
can say is...
campaign
Excuse me.
literature,
Campaign's done.
Excuse me,
Go
Ms.
sit down.
McMorro, we have a fire
you will
code
not talk to me
that
that way.
prevents you from standing there, sir. Can you please sit down? Thank you.
Your 2 candidates are sitting in the audience, and I know you're watching how she's speaking to me. I encourage you to watch the caucus meeting when this started. I will talk. I encourage the members of the council to watch the caucus meeting when it started at 6:30. It was an embarrassment how Councilwoman O, Councilwoman Park, and Councilman Aversa were screaming and yelling about the subject matter of me. I encourage you to watch it and make your own decisions of how people spoke. I am extending my hand again and asking you to stop attacking me continually. Here we go. This is funny.
Ms. Fair.
It's funny because you attack me and
No, I'm
you
telling you, I'm
Come
asking you to stop playing politics.
Politics is over, okay?
Can you finish up, Mr. Navarro?
I'm trying, but
Councilwoman
she
Park,
interrupts me
oh,
every
just stop yelling, please.
You know what? Like, she
Stop
keeps
yelling.
attacking.
She's not attacking you.
It's not, she's saying, oh, park it, and versa, every time, oh, park it, and versa.
Yeah, but
It's like-
get used to
And
it.
she wants to work together. She's
Okay, all
talking
right.
like,
That's just the way it is. That's democracy,
That's the matter.
okay? The residents get to say whatever they want. Go ahead.
Excuse me, I was respectful to you,
oh,
Gloria.
really?
Yes,
After
I
you called me a
was.
racist, you were being respectful?
When did I call you a racist,
You
Gloria?
can-
You're
No,
making that
I
up.
said you condoned the
No, you
behavior.
call me a racist.
I'm not going to argue with you, okay? I'm not.
Okay? All right,
Okay,
then
folks.
so
I'm
speak.
asking you to please,
All right,
this is crazy.
gavel is too small. No.
You guys, how you speak to
You
residents.
guys, we're not you guys up here.
Mr. Mayor?
You told me to stop speaking. You
Okay,
just
then
told
stop
me.
speaking.
All right, just, are you finished?
Am I finished?
If you're not finished, go ahead, but finish it.
This is disrespectful, all of you.
But-
All of you. You need to grow up and stop. You are an embarrassment. My kids watch these videos,
Okay.
and they're saying the same thing.
I don't
No,
condone,
you know what, Mayor?
I-
It's ridiculous what goes on here.
Now you
You are
are.
an embarrassment to this town, an embarrassment. The whole town, the whole state of New Jersey is talking about this.
That's exactly true,
Yes,
because you
because
screwed it
of
up.
the three of you.
okay, please stop yelling at the resident, thank you. Please. Folks, on the dais, everybody, you may not like what the residents have to say about you or about something you believe in, but you have to sit here and take it, okay?
Because you're sitting on that side, Kevin.
All right, from now on, I want every other seat, Republican and Democrat out here, okay? From now on, all right? You're not allowed to sit together anymore. Mix it up. Mix it up. Why don't you mix it up right now, okay? Back row, come to the front. I'm not telling you where to sit. It was, yay, we got one person moving over, okay. All right, let's go. Anybody else? Mr. Luciano, is your hand up? You usually have good things to say, though. Yeah, come on, we got the crosswalk, we got the gate. All right. Come on up. I miss hearing from you.
I'm sorry, no. First, Glenn Luciano, 20 Laurie Drive. Sage Road's had a big tractor on the side of the road. I don't know why for the past 3 days, so I'll start off with that. Maybe this gentleman can look into it. I don't know why there's a case bucket loader sitting on the side of the road.
DPW?
Where the campaign sign used to go.
DPW, or?
I don't know who's, no, it's actually, some contractor, but I'm just curious why it sits there.
Okay, well, what, can you look into that? There's also a pickup truck on Floyd on one of the properties there.
I do get, it's, the machine Mr. Luciano is referring to is the machine for the,
Come on, guys.
the machine for the contractor that's working on 9W, paving 9W.
Oh, okay.
So I'll call him, have him move it.
Just,
Well, I think they need to leave it there at night, right?
Till they work.
They need to leave it somewhere, then it's probably better than leaving it on
I think it
9W.
moved it all today, but okay. Yeah, if they're working, I understand.
That was a nice
It looks
day
like
out.
crap. Also, I came here, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, the guardrail you pull on Sage Road, I don't know who's responsible for it, if it's DOT, contact DOT, it looks like crap.
It's a state road, it's peeled back, somebody hit
It's been
it.
peeled back for almost 2 years. I know I raised the question over a year ago. If we're not responsible for it, you guys can help us and call DOT and have them fix the thing.
It's,
It looks like crap. And
shady.
that block looks like crap anyway.
Northwest corner of Sage and 9W has the guardrail that's peeled back.
Also, I'm glad whoever, I think it's because they haven't got their CO, but they cleaned up the curb strip on Sage Road on the one side. Unfortunately, they blew all the crap into the yard. So, I mean, I like that they did something, but and that's wetlands too, technically.
So they have listened to me.
They have listened to
Okay.
you. Maybe like everybody else, but in
That's better
reality,
than-
blowing the stuff into the wetlands, for one, is a violation, and two, clean it up, and they did move a lot of crap out of there and put it back on Johnson Ave. So, and while I'm on Johnson Ave, next one, someone's got to ask LG, I mentioned this over a year ago too, in the back, the weeds are growing over Johnson Ave. I know I've mentioned it to you before. Something needs to be done. And I know it's kind of a slow end of the block, but come on. And I'd like to have bollards on Sage Road too, to be
On
honest
Sage?
with you. Because you know what?
I don't think that's
mean,
possible.
You know, Van Nostrand, I understand their
Yeah.
dilemma, but we have more people cutting through from Englewood to CNBC and all the LG. We probably have, take a survey. We probably have more
No, I
traffic.
see it. I see it in the morning when I run.
And so I think if we're going to, if you want to do an added assessment for bollards to do that, I'm all for it. But I want bollards, if we're going to pay for bollards on one road, you better get ready, I'm going to come here every month and say I want bollards on...
Well, LG promised me they would pay for it.
Well, if they're going to pay for it, go more power to them. But, so,
Yeah, you know, there's a distinct difference between the people who live on Van Nostrand, who are pinned in there and can't make a left out of there.
yeah, but they knew that when they bought the place.
Well, they
They
did.
knew when they
but-
bought
but,
the place.
you
I don't know
what?
how they ever got it, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I don't know how they ever got the road to be blocked off, to be honest with you.
Before my time, I don't know.
I know it is, but
Yeah.
since we're talking about, I don't understand how that road got blocked off. And now we're gonna take the gate out and put in bollards? I can't imagine the thousands of dollars for automatic bollards to go in the road. You know, either add an assessment or if
No, no,
nobody's
no,
gonna
no,
pay
no,
for it,
no.
what about? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I said LG's doing it, okay? Let's get the story straight. I'm not doing it, we're not doing it, okay? There we go.
And I was just going to say with all due respect, I think that the way you're going to you, Mr. Mayor, the way that I don't understand, and you might have heard my comment, I don't understand why we're talking about political literature. If you want these meetings to go better, you should not allow, I don't care, I'm a resident, I shouldn't attack anybody personally on the dais. And you should prevent that as the mayor.
Well, it's usually me that's being attacked, but...
But then, you know what, set a policy that you don't
No,
allow
we can't do that.
anybody...
We can't do that.
Yes, you can.
No, we
I see it
can't.
I see it in many
That's
different
not my,
meetings.
that's not my style.
Well, that's
It's-
different. Don't
It's
say it
First
can't be done.
Amendment,
That's not your style.
right of free speech, you
But then,
know?
you know
it's-
what, Mr. Mayor, with all due respect, then you have to allow the council members to respond as well.
No,
If I'm
no.
doing, well...
Well, they have to be
let me
respectful.
finish, please.
They have to be
My own
respectful.
opinion, okay? If you want it to get better, you don't allow, first off, I don't see what the good or betterment of government taking place, like I came here and said things that are happening with, you know, beautify the neighborhood. I don't know what political literature to me is like part fiction, part reality. Let's be honest, it's political literature. We shouldn't have an open dialogue in a government meeting about political literature. If we want to argue in the hall about political literature, that's where it belongs. Not necessarily here to attack someone or something or some form of organization because you didn't agree with what was said.
Yeah, no,
And I mean it, and don't take it as one side or the other. I'm saying for everybody.
her discussion was about affordable housing, okay? And quite frankly, I'm fine with people coming here and saying whatever's on their mind, and a lot of times it's very wrong, it's hurtful, but we have to let people do this, because they had 42 years of not doing this, okay? So I let it happen. People before me were very intimidated. They didn't come up and sit down where you are there and say, "Hey, Mayor, you're wrong, you're right, you behave like Saddam Hussein." I had everything, okay, even worse. People have come up there, right? It's just the way it is. This is America. You know, other parts of the world do limit people. They limit speech.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I'll be honest, I've seen this body before be strict about a 5-minute limit. And I've also seen other people speak for 45 minutes, lecturing people and lecturing things that have nothing to do with good and efficient government, is what we should be concerned with. And we should not allow myself anybody in the general public to personally attack you who are doing a service for us, more or less volunteers, that we should hold you in some form of respect. I don't care if I agree with you or not, because you know what? I don't agree with everybody all the time anyway. But to start it off, that's what we should do to make the meetings better.
I tried to limit time once.
Mr. Luciano, may I say something?
Sure.
I think that you also need to include the audience, not to attack the speakers, and that has not been the case. The audience has attacked the speakers. So that's something that needs to stop also.
But as long as you put it in the context of the audience.
I'm saying the audience,
Absolutely,
And you've seen
Like
it.
I said before, I've heard things from one side of the room.
No, but you've seen that.
I've heard other things from other side of the room, and I'm not picking out anybody for
I know,
anything.
but I'm-
I mean it, when I'm talking, I mean it for everybody.
And I am
One
too.
side or the other.
I am too. And you've been at the meeting, so you've seen the audience participation.
And I've spoken up
Okay.
about it, haven't I?
All
You
right.
heard me get up there and say, and my exact words were, I hear chirping from this
Right.
side of the room, and I hear chirping from that side of the room.
This one-
It
I'm
doesn't
talking
make
about more than
anything better.
chirping.
Well, I'm trying to be, I was, you know, you sat up here.
Oh, yeah.
You know what goes on, and it's not one side that we can blame, okay? But if you're sitting up here, then you have to use the gavel equally, not when you just don't like things you hear or not support or do support. We have to, it can't just be, it has to be more respectful, and it starts with all of you.
In deference to the speakers, I try to give them deference, and once I try to limit the time to 5 minutes, it doesn't work, because then people just go on and on anyway. And then what I do now, though, is if you got redundant, like you kind of just did, if you kept doing that, I would have said, you're getting redundant, Mr. Luciano, take a break, come back when you have something new to say, that kind of thing, but...
Second off, you don't allow people to come back after they spoke one time.
that's right, yeah. I
Which
didn't-
is not right either, because you guys bring up things while we're talking about it. You bring up things that we didn't talk about previously, and just because I
No, that's a
sat
good point,
down,
yeah.
doesn't mean I shouldn't be able to come back up and ask another question that you might have raised something. And talking about redundancy, I've sat here on many nights and listened to redundancy of things that were being said over and over and over, and no one ever said you're being redundant. So yes, I might be a little redundant, but just don't be as quick to correct me.
I didn't.
Correct everybody. Thank you.
Yes. Anybody else? Yes.
Thomas Moore, Business 26 John Street, Inglewood Cliffs. The past administration, your administration, I've been complaining about the same piece of property, the same cars, the same everything. 5 weeks ago, I called you up and asked you to please have a meeting with me and your administrator. I happened to bump into your administrator today at the store, and he says, we took the cars off the grass. When Carol McMorrow was president, council president, I took her to the property and showed her 3 vehicles that are abandoned with the hoods up, no license plates. The cars are still there today.
Mr. Barbiero, is
This
that
is
true?
3 years. Let's stop. Forget Mr. Barbarian.
No,
Forget him. Forget everybody.
You
I
have,
want to know who is getting paid off, because nothing is going on. That's the bottom line. I know you don't like...
you're out of order.
No, I'm not out of order.
You're out of order.
No, I'm not out of order.
You're out of order.
You're out of order if you
No,
can't
that's not
watch
right.
the people you hire to take care of something.
That's not right.
That is right.
That's not right. You can't do
Something's
that.
wrong.
You can't do that. You can't
Something's
accuse-
wrong in this town.
All right, well, you could defame people all you want.
I'm not
gonna
defaming
say anything.
anybody.
You are.
Something's wrong.
You just accused someone that's...
No, I said somebody's getting
Did you
paid.
do that with the old mayor? Did you come up to...
I told him he's full of shit too.
All right.
What, did you think you're exempt from it?
Listen,
I didn't care if it was Parisi, I don't care if it's you.
let
Something's wrong.
let me speak.
Yeah, I did. I called you.
Let me
Did you?
speak.
I'll have a
Right.
meeting with you. Did you have one?
No, I didn't say I was going to have a meeting
Oh,
with you.
yeah, okay. We'll
I
get
said
together.
I was going to have the people who work for this borough deal with your issue.
Oh, they're doing
Now-
very good.
Now, let
You
me...
did very good.
Let
I
me
could-
speak. Let me speak.
Go right ahead.
Mr. Barbera.
Yes, I went down to the property that was in discussion. I took a picture of the property. I went back about a few days later, and the vehicles were no longer on the, grass. That's what the complaint was. It was not, Tony, that's
Wrong.
exactly what it was.
Go back to the tape. Wrong.
Well, and I said to you it was removed. And I spoke to Art Sepesta, it was removed, I went back, and after I took the pictures, and it was removed.
The cars are there.
Here's what I want you to do. Tomorrow, by the close of business, every car on that property that doesn't belong there must be removed. You know why? Because I'm tired of him coming here complaining about the same thing every day. He's not entirely wrong. He's not entirely right. His delivery is terrible tonight. However, there's no excuse for those cars to be there, okay? Just like on Floyd, I noticed there's a pickup truck and a trailer on a property next to the former mayor's house. It's been there for 2 months. They have to be gone, all right?
100%.
Enforce the code universally, okay? Tell Art tomorrow, get a tow truck there if you have to, get him out of there, okay? It's enough.
Are they abandoned vehicles?
I know, I don't care. All right,
you.
you done? Good. Anybody else? Yes. I don't care. Yes.
Deborah Sabari, 106 Hollywood. I'm really excited to be up here
Let
today.
me congratulate you also.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I've always felt a little bit intimidated to come and sit up here because I actually have been attacked by people on the council. So I'm glad to hear that that's not going to happen to me tonight because I have one request. I do agree that 600 Sylvan is the biggest problem facing this community right now. 800, I'm sorry. And I would like to, if possible, request from the mayor that I be added to the ad hoc committee, considering that I am going to be sitting up there in January. I'd like to get a little jump start on understanding from that side of the dais exactly what we're facing, because the truth is sitting on this side of the dais, I couldn't possibly tell you 100% that I understand it. So I'd like to get a jump start, because if we are going to court on January 22nd, I'd like to be part of that committee if that's possible.
That's fine, it's understandable, I'll consider that. It, just so you understand that there's strict confidentiality if you're on that committee.
I would hope so.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hold on, I'll talk to you.
Debbie,
One second, please.
Okay.
Debbie Fair, 49 Irving Avenue, Englewood Cliffs. On the beginning of the meeting, the attorney mentioned several resolutions that she would be adding something or whatever. And in going through the packet that was handed out to the public, in this packet, and I'm sure all packets are the same, I do not have Resolution 237, 249, 250, or 251.
Okay, so 230... 237 we don't have yet. I'm going to be stating that orally, and we discussed it in close.
That'll be an oral resolution that you'll read to the public.
And then they vote, and if
But the full resolution will be read to the public.
No, the terms of the particular matter will be read, and then a written resolution will be granted. And since, for example, I was going to do this at the time of the meeting, resolution, but for example, this is an appointment of council. So all of the standard provisions we put into appointment of council, do a professional services agreement, blah, blah, blah. I'm not stating that during the motion. I will state that the standard provisions of the resolution will be in there. We know the name, the firm, the not to exceed, and the hourly rate. I'm going to give that in the public. Do you
But
understand?
do we have your assurance that nothing else will be added to that resolution other than what you're stating?
For certain resolutions, yes.
For certain resolutions.
Well,
Anytime
how
you're
about you let me
passing a
do my
res-
job? How about you let me do my job?
Yeah, that would be nice.
I understand, thank you.
I'm just saying that
Can you
any
tell me again?
resolution...
I'm sorry.
Any resolution that you're passing should be read in full to the public if it's not given to them.
Okay, I understand and I disagree with you, but
Well,
regardless of
right.
that, 237 is not in the packet. What was the next one?
249
249?
is not in the packet, 250 and 251.
Right.
I don't have it.
That's right. You're correct.
And will you be reading those in their entirety?
I'll be reading the particular terms and provisions, that's right. And it will include a provision for standard language. We've adopted all these type of things before the last
Is
release.
there a reason that the standard language wasn't prepared ahead of
Yes.
time, and then you just add the particulars?
Yes,
So why wasn't that done?
I would respectfully decline to answer you. Thank you.
Just for the record, you may think it's strange, but no one ever leaves this room without having a complete picture
Well,
of...
obviously not going to get a complete picture of these resolutions.
Well,
You will.
were you in the caucus meeting, miss? All of those new business items are part of the resolution.
Regardless, if it's the
Okay.
resolution,
I
any
understand.
resolution that's being passed
I
by the
understand.
council
Not every
should
word.
either be
Okay.
handed out or read in full.
Thank you.
That's the way it is.
Okay, thank you.
So,
You're-
and now, Mayor, to your comment...
I didn't
saying-
finish my comment because you actually interrupted me. What I was saying was, we try to make sure that everyone who leaves here at the end of our meetings knows exactly what was voted on and approved. Sometimes there are oral resolutions which become memorialized after the meeting, and those two are available online.
An oral
Sometimes,
resolution is fine, as long as it's read in full.
so sometimes we're also working on things up to the last minute before the meeting. So I'm sure you
I
understand that.
just, like the public to be fully informed.
You always
I
are.
also would just like to comment on previous comment of yours. To state that people were intimidated and couldn't come up here and speak when Mayor Parisi was the mayor is just not true. I was sitting up there, I was here for 10 and a half years, and anyone who wanted to speak their mind spoke their mind and were free to speak their mind, and they were certainly never treated the way that you have treated many residents of this town when they came and spoke.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to be heard?
Could I say something?
Yes, of course.
As a member of the public, I was treated very badly by Mayor Parisi. He threatened to sue me, and he kept telling me my time was up, my 3 minutes was up, my 3 minutes was up, and Councilman Aversa kept his timer on his phone to keep the 3 minutes. And your 3 minutes are up, your 3 minutes are up, your 3 minutes are up. So I know that he did not always treat everybody fairly. Thank you.
And just for the record, Mary Ann, in favor of the time.
What?
Okay, well...
Still in favor.
You're in favor of a time?
Okay.
Well, no,
That'll give you something to
You
do.
were the timekeeper, Ed, with your phone.
I know, I was doing it again.
I don't want to time democracy. Democracy should just work and flow, and we'll all get along, I promise you. Anybody else? Yes, Russ? Sorry, Marie.
Russell Perino, 220 Fairview Avenue. Good evening. First comment is, member of the public, Mr. Luciano, suggested that this is not a forum for anything political regarding campaigns. I understand, I think, the point, but when there are folks that are maligned as part of that campaign, I think this is exactly the forum for it to be made known when that happens. I sat at this microphone exactly a year ago after the last election and spoke about how I found it unfortunate that members of the one of the parties decided to malign the planning board back at that time regarding finding an area of our borough, an area in need of rehabilitation, at least recommending to the mayor and council that that should be done. And I thought that that was wrong, and I spoke about it then. And I come back, here a year later, where the stakes are so much higher than they were then. That was a pretty specific item. It looks like all the ammunition was indeed unloaded on the planning board this year. And I hope I have the attention of all the council members. I'm not sure that I do. And I find it really unpleasant and just not right. As volunteer members of the board that did what they thought was right, I stand behind them 100%. And for those that use our actions as a battering ram for their campaign candidates, I find to be despicable, is the word I'll use tonight. And I think that if one looks at some of the statements made in that campaign literature that may have indeed compromised the boroughs or weakened the borough's position in some way, that is even more of a problem. I asked, I think it was a reorg meeting at the planning board, and I spoke at this microphone probably around the same time, that the boroughs stand together. And this is not against 800 Sylvan Avenue. I have no bias against them. It's about the process. And we know that we have an issue that we have to deal with, and we have to find solutions. And one hoped that we could have worked on that together, but the campaign literature clearly drove a wedge very, very deep into that process that should have been, I think, collaborative, more collaborative than it was. And I welcome other members now that are going to serve, hopefully, on this committee, and they will see what this is all about and how difficult the process it is. And then maybe they'll actually recognize the fact that, hey, this is the real deal. It takes concentration, it takes work, and it's not appropriate to criticize those that have participated in the process. And I'm talking now about the planning board's part in the process. And hopefully, when they realize all the facts and they understand the intricacies, they will actually step up and say, you know what, we're sorry, we were wrong. I hope that I would hear that at some point. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for your service. Yes.
Maria Valari, 45 Jane Drive. I just want to make an observation that I made tonight, is that I've been paying attention to everybody's body languages up here, and I note that the people on the right of me here are paying attention, they're listening, they're engaged in what's going on. I see here texting, lowered faces, and a body language that isn't really interested in what the residents that are coming up here to say. And I'm really disheartened by that, because I feel that how can you speak about uniting a community? And by the way, it's a 50-50 divided community. Okay, let's make that clear. And I feel that these people on this side are listening. Even if they don't agree with you, they're paying attention and they're making eye contact. I see disinterested, falling asleep, texting, whatever it is that you guys are doing there. I'm really disappointed that you don't even look up to make contact. How can you expect to unite this town when you have this? And by the way, I have been treated really bad by then Mayor Parisi, and so many others. Debbie Fair can make that statement because she was part of the Good Old Boys Club. She benefited from the Parisi regime. And so it's easy for her to say that she never witnessed anything like this. Well, she should review some of the old videos, if they're still available out there, because I remember that mayor getting off the dais and walking up to Miss Lauren Eastwood, right within inches of her face, pointing at her and yelling at her. So don't talk to me about that Mayor Kranjak is awful. Well, then, you know why? Because you weren't on the other side of the receiving team when Mayor Parisi was up there. I am really disappointed that we have a situation in this town with our police force, with their union, who takes sides politically. As a Republican, and maybe I should have never changed my U to an R, because now I really don't feel so comfortable in this town anymore. I think most officers out there, but to have these individuals here say that we should drop charges, that oh, he was just kidding, or whatever excuse. We've had people that have been fired, have resigned from all over this country for less than that. And to sit there and not agree with doing something about this, something, I think it's a really disgrace. And as a woman, I'm insulted. Is it because I'm a Republican woman? Because that's what it seems to be. If you're a Democrat woman, we have to all rush to you and save you. But if you're a Republican, you're crazy, your ideas are wrong. So I wanted to say that. I have to tell you that the mailers that came out were very disappointing to me. I feel that they were hurtful to the residents of this town. This affordable housing thing, I think it was misrepresented, and it's a shame, because we should all be on the same side with that. And I really like the idea of having people sitting on the side, but listening to that, I don't know. Thank you.
Anybody else wishing to be heard? Okay, seeing and hearing no one, can I have a motion to close public?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, also, I see Jimmy Song here, I want to congratulate him on the campaign victory. See Danya, you ran a great campaign. Please, people, get involved. Mark Clark, you as well. It's great to see new faces getting involved, and bless you. So thank you for getting involved. We were going to approve minutes tonight.
Yeah, I just want to have a point of order, Mayor. We received about 98 pages of minutes on Tuesday night, so I just want to see if we can table that to the next meeting to have more time to review them.
The special meeting?
We can do it at the special meeting. That gives us
Is that all right, everybody?
more time.
Only,
I didn't have a chance to read all of it. I don't know if anyone else on the council got through all 98 pages.
I sent this in July and a month ago.
I got to read it, but I'm okay with it.
Okay, so
I'd like you to clarify that, because I didn't
All
send all
right,
these.
some were sent earlier, some were sent on Tuesday.
May I clarify for the record?
Sure.
That's fine.
In July, well, I'd like to clarify, because I didn't send out a whole bunch of
Okay,
emails.
go ahead, clarify.
In July, I sent out the minutes from March to June 13th, and the mayor asked me to pull them off the agenda. About a month ago, I resent them again at advice of the mayor. So what I sent a few days ago, you're right, I don't know if it was 96 pages, I didn't count, but that was the meetings from July to September 26th.
Okay, so let's give everybody a chance to catch up.
one thing, and I hope that we're going to do this. We have all the closed session minutes to come. And we sort of planned November for open session and caucus and December for the close. So if we could have you all do that for these motions for the November 28th meeting, that would be good, because you're about to get a slew of closed session as well. Is that okay?
I read it now, I'm okay. Whatever.
So do we
Everybody-
need a motion to table this? Is that, or can we just
Or I could just,
table it?
I could just pull it off.
Okay.
Could I second it?
We'll vote.
You just pull it off.
I'll pull it off. All right, we'll put it back on November 28th. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Next up, payment of claims. Resolution 236, payment of claims, October 11th, 2018 through November 8th, 2018. $2,489,000, and do that over. $2,489,233.30. Have a motion to approve that.
Second.
Can I roll call?
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
O'Shea?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution 237, appointment of co-counsel for In Ray, Borough of Englewood Cliffs, docket number BER-L-6119-15, paren, affordable housing, close paren.
May I speak? Okay. So we met with Thomas J. Troutner. He is being appointed along with his law firm, Chesia, Shanian, and Giantomasi PC. They have multiple offices, including in West Orange and New York City. Mr. Troutner came into closed session, and the resolution is for a contract, professional services agreement. The standard resolution language will be included that you've seen a million times in resolutions to appoint counsel. The fee will be an hourly rate of $280 per hour. That was negotiated downward by the mayor. That will be in the resolution. The initial not to exceed will be not to exceed $20,000. That will be in the resolution. Of course, the standard language includes that the mayor and council can increase the not to exceed should that be necessary. In addition, the appointment is to, the term of the appointment will be to the end of the litigation, the subject litigation. Mr. Troutner will serve as co-counsel with Jeffrey Serenian in the affordable housing litigation in Ray Englewood Cliffs. Chris Martin, our planning board attorney, will no longer serve as co-counsel in that matter. We are preparing, of course, for the coming months with respect to that. I do not have anything else to add unless any member of the council has a question that you think I need to state on the record for the motion.
A motion to approve that.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
O'Shea?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
Okay, resolution 238, approval of addendum to settlement agreement between Borough, Shopee, and Scott Muro.
And just for the record, you did all receive this yesterday. It wasn't in the packet tonight, but it was done yesterday.
So, I just want to add that I am not supportive of this. The council can do whatever they want, obviously. I feel that as a borough, we're not getting the benefit of the bargain that I negotiated in September or August of 2017. And therefore, I want to renegotiate certain aspects of this.
I am recommending, as the council knows, I am recommending that we adopt this approval to the addendum to the settlement agreement so that the disability application can go forward and be approved by the pension board once and for all.
Let me clarify. One of the reasons, well, the only reason I'm not approving this is that when we negotiated the settlement, there was a clause that we negotiated for, which our labor council, not Anne Marie, and our former borough administrator said was enforceable. The pension board said it is not enforceable. And I feel that we paid for something that is not enforceable, therefore somebody needs to make us whole.
Oh, the resolution was given to all the mayor and council. I'll do the highlight points, okay? You guys all got it yesterday. I understand you don't have it. There's so many resolutions that it got missed. It's okay. I do have it somewhere in this pile of papers. Okay. Yes, because it is unusual. It is somewhat unusual, right? Resolution, this is the title, Resolution Authorizing Addendum to Settlement Agreement and General Lease Release between the Borough of Englewood Cliffs Chief Michael Chiappi and Scott Mora. These are the high points on the resolution. There's whereas, we previously entered into a settlement agreement, and the settlement agreement required an application for involuntary disability retirement. The pension boards deemed certain language in the agreement to be unacceptable. The parties have reached an agreement to remove that language, and Scott Mora has signed off on it, and now the borough and Chief Chiappi have to sign off on it. And the borough wants, the way the resolution is written, the borough wants the involuntary disability application to be processed, considered, and approved by the pensions board, and the only way that can happen is if we do these addendum, which is why I recommend that we approve the addendum and that it be signed. Chief Chiappi is a party to the original litigation. He was sued by Scott Mora. He was defended by the borough and JIF. We will need Chief Chiappi's signature on the addendum. So I wrote the resolution to include not only that the mayor or his designee is authorized to execute the addendum, and that the borough clerk is authorized to witness, but that Chief Michael Chiappi is also directed to sign the addendum. His signature needs to be on it. So I am asking the mayor and council, as Chief Chiappi's employer, to direct that he sign the addendum. I'm sorry, the addendum is to remove the language from the agreement that the pension board finds objectionable. Then it's a no return to work clause. No return to work. And I'm sorry, I can't do it at this and this. I'll explain.
Folks in the audience, she will explain. She can't do that.
I'll explain as far as I can, understanding that there is still pending litigation with Mr. Mora, and we still have to get through the disability process. The goal here is, and one of the things we negotiated last year was get the involuntary disability application approved and Mr. Mora off our books and no longer an employee. During the negotiation, we asked, and Mr. Mora agreed, not to return to work. The language is in there, as the mayor says, and he believes what he has said. We had negotiated for that. It was part of the overall deal. The pension board has relied upon a statute that says someone who's doing an someone who is doing a disability application must have the ability to return to work if he recuperates and is able to do so. That period of time by statute is 5 years after approval of a disability application. So once we get it approved, for 5 years, there is an entree for Mr. Mora to come back to the police department. However, I want to tell the members of the public, as I have discussed with the mayor, the council, and I cannot fully discuss here, there are other requirements, not just recuperation, that will have to be faced for Mr. Mora to come back, including, obviously, training. He has been out of the police service for a number of years. There will have to be, if he were ever to come back to this borough, 5 years from now, 4 years from now, one of the things I've said, and which is fairly obvious, is you must retrain and pass all the training requirements. Another requirement is that a medical exam be required by the borough and passed by Mr. Mora before he come back to employment. And I will not opine as to whether that could ever happen or not, but regardless, that's a requirement. A third thing is that, like a new officer almost, because he's been off our force actively for a long time, he would have to pass a fitness for duty physically and the psychological, just as if he was a new employee coming back. There would be a lot of moving parts that we can use, that the borough still has to enforce the agreement even without this language. But if we don't take it out, we can't even get him on a disability pension and off our books. That's the first step. That's why I'm urging the council to adopt it. I understand we negotiated for it, but we need to get beyond this to an approval by the pensions board. This is the way to do it. They've approved this addenda form. That's it. They've approved it. I hope I've explained in layman's terms.
Thank you. So we negotiated for it, yes, but we also paid for it, and we're not getting that benefit, which bothers me the most. So I've asked the Labor Council to basically kick in the difference. I haven't heard from them.
I'm going to undertake a negotiation.
Yes, well, all right, so I leave it to the council to either make a motion or to just ignore this for now. No takers? Okay. Let's,
What happens to 2:38?
You need to take a vote, right?
there's no motion. There's no motion.
I talked too much, right? Did I talk too much? Did we forget what the motion is?
No, there's no motion pending. Nobody made a motion.
Okay, motion to...
Nobody moved it.
Nobody moved it.
Nobody moved it. Okay, is anyone gonna move this? Okay, let's do this then. Let's pull it tonight. We'll put it for November 28th, and I hope that we get some compensation back, to partially make us whole. All right? Can you talk to them? Thank you.
I will.
And talk to Mira also.
I don't talk to the people.
Talk to the attorney. Next up, 239, approved settlement of Lavery et al. versus Borough Docket Number BER SPC 13795-18.
Right, that is an SPC documenting the special civil court, member, councilman.
Okay.
Members of the public, just very briefly, this resolution was done, but it was missed in the packet. It is a resolution authorizing settlement of the matter entitled Lavery, Salvaggi, and Abramovich and Cohen, Larry Cohen, versus the borough. It is seeking $15,000 in attorney's fees. The authorization is to settle that matter by our assigned counsel, Anthony Bucco and Murphy McKean, settle that matter in entirety for $9,000 of the 15, to approve, to get a stipulation of dismissal with prejudice, a release, a general release, and whatever else Anthony Bucco, the borough's defense attorney, needs this borough to have. Previously, the mayor and council had authorized a certain amount in closed session. This $9,000 is recommended by the borough's current defense attorney and myself as a reasonable way to end this litigation without further cost to the borough. Any members of the council have any questions? Is that someone going to move that motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilperson Aversa? E. Park?
She's recused.
Correct.
Thank you.
Poe?
No.
O'Shea?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
All right, so the next one is 240, create affordable housing ad hoc committee. This is a mayor's committee. I will create it, I will appoint to it, and Anne Marie needs to say a few things about it.
So there will be a resolution, since this is not a standard resolution that the mayor and council have. We discussed it in new business during the caucus, and I already have advised members of the public who are here and the mayor and council members as to what is being voted upon tonight for the title of creation of an affordable housing ad hoc committee. There's been a few changes as stated by the mayor earlier. There will be 6 members on this committee. Those members will be, I'm not talking about names, what I'm talking about is the type of person. There will be The planning board chair, whoever that may be, would be part of this ad hoc committee. 2 council members, whoever it is that the mayor appoints, will be part of this committee. The borough administrator, whoever that is, will be part of this committee. And 2 citizens will be part of this committee. Right? So that's 6 members. I'm saying 6 now to accommodate our discussions.
You just said before 3, it's going to be 1...
Right, but the mayor wants to expand it, and then you guys talked about that in our new business.
I'm talking about 6 people.
Okay, so listen again. Planning board chair.
That's not what we talked about, I'm listening.
Okay, let her go
All
through it.
right, but we did talk about,
Okay, go ahead.
you're right. Planning board chair, borough administrator, 2 council members, 2 citizens. We had an offer from a citizen who wants to be on the ad hoc committee.
Okay.
I have a question.
And she's going to be a council. Yes.
So,
Oh, I'm not done stating the requirements, but go ahead.
oh, okay. So my question, has to do with, the planning board chair being on the ad hoc committee.
Yeah.
Wouldn't there be a conflict? I mean, the planning board is being sued, right, by the developer?
Okay, the planning board, yeah.
So how can the chairman
Okay.
be
No.
part of the ad hoc committee?
Okay, so I'll explain. First off, the planning board chair is appointed, and that makes him bound by fiduciary duty to do what's best for the borough. That's number 1. Number 2, he does not have a conflict of interest as the planning board chair because the planning board is sued. And I've had a judge say it numerous times, just because you're named as a defendant, it doesn't create a conflict of interest. If you are a plaintiff in a case, there might be a conflict of interest, and 99% of the time there is. So the fact that we're sued, and 800 Sylvan sued us, our board and our borough, by the way, not just the board, wait a minute, in 2 separate lawsuits, this ad hoc committee, I'm not done yet saying what's going to be in the resolution, but the purpose of the ad hoc committee is to assist with affordable housing and the the Borough of Englewood Cliffs, docket number BERL 6119-15. That will be in the resolution. Lori, do you have another question on this point?
I do. I disagree with that, Emery, because, as one of the members to the ad hoc committee, he will be privy to a lot of the confidential information, and, he is the chairman of the planning board.
Who do you think has been doing all the work for the last year on this? You never raised that before. The guy's been working day and night on this, along with Ms. McMorrow, and now all of a sudden there's a conflict? That's very disingenuous. He's been doing all the work.
Mayor,
He's been doing all the work.
I'm entitled to ask questions, and you don't need to put me down.
That's not putting you down.
Yes, you
You're doing
You're
things.
telling me that I'm being disingenuous, and I'm not.
He's been working for the last year. Where have you
I'm simply
been?
asking questions, and I'm entitled to that.
You are entitled, but he's been working on this for the last year, and you seem fine with that, and you seem fine with Ms. McMorrow working as well. I have a real problem with that, because we should express gratitude to Russell Perino for doing all that work. Ms. Fair, you don't have to yell out that much. I mean, come on, guys, let's stop playing games up here. There's no conflict. Last time I checked, the planning board was part of our government, okay? We're on the same team here.
I don't have a problem with that. I think the council should be, involved more.
Not citizens.
I have a problem with the planning board. I think it should be involved somehow.
Well, honestly, in the last year, the council seemed very disinterested, other than the people who were active. That's 3 years and 42 years before that. So nothing's been done, guys. Let's stop it.
I don't think that's fair.
What's been done? You've been on this council for 8 years. Nothing's been done, Ed. You need to stop yelling out of your chair. You can't do that. If so much had been done, we wouldn't be sued right now.
They are continuing the statement of what's going to be in the resolution.
I'm gonna ask you to leave, Ms. Fair, because I can't conduct a meeting like this.
I gotta say the rest of it.
All right, Anne Marie's gonna finish.
I have to make a record, and thank you, Councilwoman O, for your question. I understand your question. 6 members, I already told you the type of member it's going to be. The term will be until the task is completed, because an ad hoc committee is an informal committee. It is created for the purpose of one task. The task is to assist with the pending litigation and/or other resolution of the affordable housing docket number case that I just read into the record. That will be the term. It will be a mayor appointment. It's an ad hoc committee. It does not require the consent, the appointments do not require the advice and consent of council. It's a mayor appointment. There will be, so you understand, even though it is informal committee, that means we do not expect this committee to hold meetings, because then they have to comply with open public meeting. There will be no meetings of this committee. There will be communications. Okay, I understand. You can be communications. You can join together and discuss your united task. But no, excuse me, please. There will be no decision-making by this ad hoc committee. There will be no action taken by the ad hoc committee that binds the borough. Anything that they do, whether as a group or individually, shall be in furtherance of their task. The duties will be to assist the litigation counsel assigned to the matter, to liaison between the litigation counsel and the mayor and council, to report to the mayor and council in closed session if necessary or in open session about the activities the mayor and council need to be advised of. Such other actions that are reasonable and necessary and interpreted as part of their task. Assist with respect to the upcoming litigation. In addition, the resolution will refer to that as an appointee, you shall serve with honor. You're not a borough employee and you're not an elected official necessarily, but the same fiduciary duty that those type of people, employees or elected officials, have to the borough will be expected from every member of the ad hoc committee. So there will be language that the people shall serve with honor, and by the way, that's defined in our state statutes with respect to employees. It makes it similar for these committee members. There will be a fiduciary duty to the borough. There will be no decision-making capabilities for this committee. Questions? Any questions?
You know what, I agree with Councilman Aversa. This should be on the council, not some members of the city, residents, especially, as Ellen had stated before during the caucus meeting, just call it what it is. Like, you're creating a position for Carol McMorrow to stay on the COA.
Okay.
And this is not what we want to do.
Can I add something here? Let me finish. Hold on, let me finish here. There's no one that's worked harder on this than Ms. McMorrow and Russell Perino. And let me ask you guys a question. Since you're so interested in all this. Have you ever attended a court session regarding affordable housing in the last year? Any of you?
We were not the liaison to the...
No, but Ed said he wanted to be involved as a councilman. Nothing stops you from being involved, even if there's an ad hoc committee. You're still the council. You still are ultimately responsible. So have you ever attended a hearing?
Does that mean we're not involved?
No, have you ever gone?
I'm just asking you questions. That means we're not involved.
Well, you're not zealously involved.
Well, have you?
I have, actually.
How many times have you?
I've gone several times.
I'm not zealously involved. I think that's insulting.
Well, you say you want to be involved, so I'm not trying to insult you, but I also want you to be honest with the public. You've never been to court on this matter. But you're just not interested. Okay. All right, let's...
interested.
I'm not there all day either. I actually got in my car and drove out of my way to go to the court hearings and to the mediations. Okay, look, enough of the games. Let's have a motion for this, have a vote. Have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Have a roll call.
You didn't even mention the names of the people.
The what?
The names of the people on the committee.
He's going to do that on the agenda later. There's an appointment provision on the agenda later.
It's
We are
down,
creating-
it's down below.
We are creating the ad hoc committee now. I just told you the terms that will be included.
Can I be recognized?
Yeah, it's down below on the agenda, you'll see the appointments. Yes.
So, I think this is highly inappropriate, obviously for the obvious reasons, and I don't want to reiterate the reasons, but that being said, I mean, you appointed Carol McMorrow as the liaison, and she's the only one that's been very on top of it. Now she is gone, I understand that. I make a motion to,
There's a motion on the
We're
floor.
voting
well,
right now.
you recognize me, right? So,
There's a motion.
I want to make a motion just to make Gloria the next liaison. How about that? Why do we need to have 6 people who can't communicate together, who cannot meet together?
You're not public meetings. You're not a public body.
Okay, we're in the
we can get
middle.
together?
We can make another motion after we finish our vote
You
here.
just said we had no meetings. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
If you want to have a meeting,
Well,
you can have it.
let me ask you guys a question.
And unless you're making new law now,
Let me ask you-
Comply with all-
We're having a vote, but just for the record, since Councilman
all
McMorro
committees are
resigned,
supposed to
you've
be
done
resolved by
nothing.
the end of the year, correct, Mayor?
That's fine, we'll redo it next year.
This one is, I've already told you, the term of the ad hoc committee is until the task is completed. That's typical of ad hoc. Whether you like it or not, I don't know.
Okay, so let a vote, please.
Councilperson Zaversa? E. Park?
No.
O.
Absolutely not.
O'Shea?
Absolutely, yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. I also want to mention that since Councilwoman McMorro resigned her post, I'd like to know, what have you done for affordable housing litigation? Have you done anything? Have you gone to any meetings, any court sessions? Because you had the opportunity.
information.
Okay.
Want us of anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got the agenda at 5 o'clock.
No. That's all fully informed. It's all public knowledge as well.
Okay, but
You want us to find out?
Have you expressed,
you had the agenda before that.
have you expressed any interest? Have you asked me for dates, the schedules? No. Okay. All right,
Hold on.
I wrote it down.
Okay, thank you.
All right, 241, ratify disciplinary charges against Captain Brian Murphy, dated September 21, 2018, paren, tape 61B, comma, multiple incidents, close paren. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Can I have a roll call?
Councilperson Zaversa? E. Park? O.
No.
Comments, Mary?
Yeah, that's not appropriate.
Who's, members of the public?
Nonsense over there.
Okay,
Keep it down, keep it down.
could the public please stop?
O'Shea?
Yes.
Ratified disciplinary charges.
M. Park?
Yes.
Wu?
Yes.
3-3.
Yes. 242, ratify disciplinary charges against Captain Timothy Regan, dated September 12, 2018, paren, tapes 102 and 100, comma, multiple incidents, close paren. Can I have a motion, please? So moved.
Second.
Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilperson Zaversa?
No.
E. Park?
No.
O.
No.
O'Shea?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Wu?
Yes.
Is it time, Mayor?
Yes. 243, ratify disciplinary charges against Lieutenant William Henkelman, dated September 12, 2018, paren, tape 102, comma, multiple incidents, close paren. Can I have a motion? So moved. So, can I have a roll call, please?
Councilperson Zaversa? E. Park?
No.
O.
No.
O'Shea?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Wu?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. 244, authorized grant agreement with County of Bergen for community development. Can I have a motion? Second. Can I have a roll call?
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
O'Shea?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Woo.
245, authorized increase in not to exceed amount for special counsel Lanza and Lanza. So move.
Second.
Who moved it, I'm sorry?
Oh, Mark. Mark.
Councilperson Zaversa?
I don't have that resolution in my packet.
Which one?
What are you reading?
Yeah, I didn't have that one.
How are we voting on something we don't even have?
I'm sorry, I don't know about that one.
That's the one I sent you.
You
Did
did
you
it?
speak into the microphone?
This should be for $10,000.
No, we raised it to 20. Didn't we?
No, that was-
No, that was the other one.
But you could put it on for the
It's a
special.
different one, Councilwoman.
Somebody has it.
I'm sorry, we have to table this one.
All right.
Or actually, just pull it.
Pull it.
Let's pull it. 246, authorized Mazer Consulting to apply for the 2019 Bergen County Community Development Block Grant.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
O'Shea?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Woo.
247, authorization to transfer budget appropriations.
So moved.
Second?
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
O'Shea?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Woo.
Yes.
248, authorized settlement of tax appeal block 411, lot 16, 440 Sylvan Avenue.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
O'Shea?
Yes.
M. Park?
Accused.
Woo.
Recused.
.249, approving and ratifying letter directive to use accumulated time benefits to Michael Chaffee dated November 7, 2017, paren, resulting in insubordination disciplinary charges dated November 20th, 2017, close paren. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Second. Can I have a roll call?
Discussion?
We didn't have discussion on this. What are you saying? Did you before the vote? Before motion? Oh, yeah. Robert's rules. All right, so let me just, go ahead. It's up to you, man. Okay.
So we're in the middle, we're in the middle of the vote.
What was the motion?
The motion is what it says, approving and ratifying letter directive. It's 249, just read it to yourself.
Just a letter?
Okay, so, yeah, it's just a letter. You got a copy of the letter? And this is going to be the same language that we've used in, other ratifications 2 weeks ago? Ed, what's your question?
It pertains to the same
The language.
appropriate authority issue, right?
Right, yes. Yes.
That was my question.
Yes, and the hearing officer addressed that differently in this case than usual, right? We talked about that in the open session during caucus,
So what
I
was
think, or was it...
what is the reason that we have to approve the letter, if he is the appropriate authority?
We're ratifying.
It's in the interest of good order.
Ratifying. The interest of good order. Sir, and this issue has been decided several times. I've discussed it with you in closed other things that I can't say now.
But that's like we've had a disagreement of what you interpret the answer to be and what I interpret the answer to be.
Well,
I understand,
we're in the middle of the vote.
Yeah, I understand.
No, there was a voluntary dismissal today on That very issue.
issue wasn't very nice.
All right, we're in the middle of voting.
No, we don't want to second.
We did, actually.
No,
No one made, no one made a motion.
We did. We had a second, more.
Oh, I didn't hear it. I'm sorry. Okay. Council, I have the, okay. Councilperson Zaversa?
No.
E. Park?
No.
O.
No.
O'Shea?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Wu?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. 250, so Borough Council will state this as there's a modification.
Right, so this matter was on new business and discussed in open public session during the caucus. The council has before it the letter dated November 7, 2017, as well as the, which resulted in the charges dated November 20, 2017. In addition, the council had before it the written recommendation report of the hearing officer dated received April 9, 2018. It's not dated, but that's circa April 2018. The council talked about this in open session. There was no rice notice required because it was an open session. The council then went into closed session for the purpose of advisory, consultative, and deliberative with me. After a few minutes of discussion of the legal requirements necessary for this particular disciplinary, the borough administrator, myself, and the borough clerk left closed session. The council deliberated for approximately 15 to 20 minutes, and the purpose of this motion now, which I'm about to state, in which one of you is going to advise, because I don't know how you want to vote. The purpose of this motion is this resolution will be to accept, modify, or reject the hearing officer's recommendation. The first question is, the resolution will contain additional language about the whereas clauses, and the resolution itself, where it says now therefore be resolved, will embody what this motion is about to be. So, the motion is to accept, modify, or reject the finding of the hearing officer as to the specification and charge. Which is it? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, Emery, to advise to modify the penalty from 90 days for every day worked to 2 days for every day worked during the time the chief was supposed to exhaust his vacation.
Okay, I understand. Is there an acceptance, modification, or rejection? Hold on, guys. Is there an acceptance, modification, or rejecting of the hearing officer's recommendation on whether or not the charges should be sustained or unsustained? You need that part of the motion, too.
We would like to sustain the charges.
Okay. So I can now state the motion and ask for someone to, and then what? Okay. So, council members, I'm going to state the motion, and bear in mind that we previously did a resolution a few months ago, and it had some standard language in it and some supplemental language. That's going to be in there. The now therefore part will be what I'm going to say. Okay, so I'm not putting anything extra in the now therefore part. The motion will be to accept the hearing officer's recommendation to sustain the charge of insubordination against Chief Chiaffi, effective on the date stated in the hearing officer's report, from when the date of the charges were issued, I believe. The effective date of the letter sent by the mayor was November 8, 2017. The charges themselves were November 20. So there will be a sustaining of this insubordination from that date, whichever one is applicable, forward. Further, the second part of your decision-making deliberation is to modify the hearing officer's recommendation to make it less than what he recommended. He recommended X, you're going with, which is higher. He recommended a punishment for every day that the chief was out,
For every vacation.
for every day of insubordination for failing to use vacation, it was 90 days. This mayor and council has agreed, this mayor and council will vote now on modification to 2 days penalty for every day he has been insubordinate. That was the hearing officer's, for the length of vacation, okay.
And all other charges remain fully.
Is this the motion that Councilman Wu is making?
No, he's got to adopt it.
Why are you reading the motion? He should be making that motion.
Yes, he can adopt what I wrote,
Well,
what
I'd
I
like to
read.
hear from him
Okay.
what motion he's making.
Okay, he's got it, it's fine,
As is
make a
often the
motion.
case, Anne Marie reads it, and then somebody else makes a motion.
So move.
Call it,
Second.
state it.
Yeah, we're advising to modify the recommendation of the hearing officer, which was 90-day penalty for every day of insubordinated work. And insubordination for showing up for work, and we're going to modify that to 2 days for every day that he showed up for work in insubordination.
And you're motioning, excuse me, be quiet. It's not time for the council to, it's not
The
time
total-
for the public to answer.
I defer to the borough attorney, I believe it's 342 days.
That's
that
right.
he has of
Calculation will be
vacation.
made, it's okay, okay? Your motion, your motion needs to include whether or not you are accepting the hearing officer's
We're sustaining
sustaining the
the
charge.
charges from the hearing officer.
Okay.
The charges are not the hearing officer, the charges were made by the mayor.
You're accepting the finding of the hearing
That's not
officer.
what he said, that's not what you told him to say.
Can I make a recommendation? Can we table this to the next special meeting and you draft a
There's a vote?
resolution
No.
so we know what we're voting on?
You mean
Yeah.
sustain the finding as to insubordination?
This is
by the hearing
ridiculous, what you guys
Yeah.
are doing.
That's what we're...
It's not
It's not
ridiculous.
acceptable.
Don't
You're
vote,
making the motion, you don't even know what you're making the motion.
vote no.
We know clearly what we're making the motion on, Gloria. There's not, I talked about this during
Gloria,
closed
please be
session.
respectful.
Just feeding you what to say.
Gloria, please be respectful.
Seriously.
Okay, and Councilman Park seconded that, correct? Yeah, I did. Okay, we have a roll call.
Councilperson Zaversa?
What are we voting on here?
You're voting to sustain the charge of insubordination and impose a penalty of 2 days for every day of insubordination.
Sustaining the charges of, it's sustaining the findings, Anne Marie.
No, it's sustaining the charge of insubordination.
So
Yes,
it's 342
it is.
days times 2 is 684 days, right? That's what we're...
Yeah, yes, you're right. Thanks for doing the calculation.
It was a while.
Okay.
Now,
Excuse me. It's not,
We're voting.
you already heard all of this in
I'm not
closed.
asking the questions.
Okay, wait. You already heard, what they're asking, you already heard in closed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Voting.
Councilperson Aversa?
No, for reasons I said in closed session.
E. Park?
No. For also reasons I said in closed session.
O.
No. And ditto.
Ditto.
For the same reasons.
Okay.
O'Shea?
Are you, excuse me, are you talking about in deliberations? Okay. They mean in deliberations, I wasn't there.
O'Shea was a yes.
Sorry, Mary.
I said yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Wu?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
I will be getting off the dais while you discuss these.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
I'll do it.
go ahead.
251, authorizing the preparation and submission of disciplinary charges against Borough Clerk Lizette Duffy and submissions of same to Department of Community Affairs.
Okay. That title was amended during the caucus and discussed in caucus in open session between the mayor and council members. The title will be authorizing the preparation and service of disciplinary charges against the borough clerk and submission of same to the Department of Community Affairs, authorizing the mayor to sign those charges. The mayor and council have a confidential working document itemizing the 4 different categories of charges. And in general, they have to do with the preparation of the minutes of October 10, 2018, draft minutes, and also having to do with recordings that Chief Chiappi made, which Ms. Duffy was a part of being recorded. So, the resolution is strictly, it's going to be your standard, you're authorizing the preparation and service of disciplinary charges. You're authorizing the mayor to sign it. You're authorizing submission of, this is where it's different, you're authorizing submission of same to the Department of Community Affairs. That's the substantive content of this motion. Someone needs to...
Point of order?
Grab it. Okay.
I asked a point of order. Discussion.
So move.
Sorry, hold on, I asked a point of order discussion. Yeah. So, I don't...
Someone's yelling out, and you're not following them.
No. You and then you also. Nobody from the public, please. Please, no one from the public. You're right, Mr. Di Gregorio. You shouldn't be yelling out either. I think, I don't agree with your ricing issue. I think that the employee should be ricing. I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
Okay, as we discussed in caucus. Go ahead, Mayor. He didn't hear you.
Rice notice.
I said I don't agree with the logic of the
All right, that was asked and answered in
I know, and I wasn't on
in
the record
caucus.
why she is not being riced.
It's on the record from caucus, so you don't need to repeat it again.
We don't agree with the interpretation of the borough attorney.
I don't.
All right, can I have a motion?
Second.
All right, so...
Hold on, I have to take this vote.
I got it.
No, you can't.
Yeah, you take it.
Okay, motion was,
Mark Park.
I'm sorry, Mark Park, second.
William.
William was the second?
Yeah.
Councilman Aversa.
Pass.
What's that mean? You're abstaining?
That means I said pass. Come back to me.
Oh. Now, I don't know the Roberts rule on that. Okay.
You could do that.
Okay, I don't know the Roberts rule on that. It's fine. Let me continue. Ellen Park?
Again, I disagree with your legal opinion as to the Rice notice.
Okay.
Additionally, the memorandum or memo that you sent over to the council members,
The working document.
there are certain things in there that I also do not agree with. And again, that's, left for interpretation, and therefore I say no.
Councilwoman O?
No.
Councilwoman O'Shea?
Yes, I vote yes.
Councilman Park?
Yes.
Councilman Wu?
Yes.
Councilman Aversa?
Staying.
Motion passes 3-2. I'll just note 2 things for the record. I did discuss in caucus potential conflicts of interest, and no recusals were taken by any of the persons that I spoke about. In addition, what just happened? Okay, in addition, and Councilwoman Park, thank you for your commentary before casting your vote. I just want to make make it clear from caucus what I already said, which is this is just preferring charges. This council and this borough do not handle the charges. They go to the Department of Community Affairs, and we do not do any hearings, and we do not make any findings, and we do not make any decisions. The DCA does that. I want to make that clear to the members of the public. I know you guys understand.
Okay, 252, hire full-time public works laborer.
Oh, wait till Madam Clerk comes back up.
I just stopped off.
252, hire full-time public works laborer. Can I have a motion, please? So moved.
Second.
Have a roll call.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
O'Shea?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
253, authorize change order number 1 and final payment to DNL paving for Suez resurfacing.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
O'Shea?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
254, increase not to exceed amount for Jeffrey R. Serenian and Associates LLC. Have a motion?
Second.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Are we raising it to?
20,000.
Raising it up. It says
Oh, no,
25 in
no. Oh,
here.
this one's how much?
It says
25,000.
65.
65?
Yeah, I just gave the history of all the, not to exceed. So you'll see, in that resolution, 1838, 1819.
It started with 25.
Okay, so this is the affordable housing, all right?
Right.
So yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
O'Shea?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Ordinances for 2018 public hearing, 18-16. Ordinance to accept title and record deeds for 2 real properties.
Yes. And it's open.
Okay.
I still have to do
Good.
it. Excuse me? Can you motion to open?
So moved.
Second. All in favor of opening to the public? Okay, so if there's anyone from the public, I'm sorry, guys, were you in favor of that?
Yes.
All in favor? Yeah, okay, thank you. 18-16, ordinance to accept title and record deeds for 2 real properties. If there's anyone from the public who wishes to be heard just on that ordinance, please raise your hand and come up to the microphone. Yes.
I would like, Dave DiGregorio, 165 Charlotte Place. Could someone explain to me what this all is about, this ordinance?
So this ordinance is to accept the deeds to the 2 properties for the 100% affordable housing project that the borough is espousing, and to record those deeds and certify the availability of funds from the Affordable Housing Fund pursuant to approval by the court. And you're on
So how much is this going to cost the taxpayers
nothing.
total? The purchase of these properties?
The purchase price is being paid from the Affordable Housing Trust Fund of the borough.
And how much is in that trust fund?
I don't know. You're asking the wrong questions. That's not what this ordinance does.
Well, does anyone know how much is in this trust fund?
You don't look for that.
Remember when I said you could only ask questions about this ordinance?
Well, that's not what I'm doing. It's
No, you're
anything to do
actually,
with this.
you're actually asking for the ordinance from last month, actually, right now, so, We'll answer all your questions, we just can't do it right now. Just Oprah it, we'll send everything you need.
Okay, what necessitated this whole ordinance to purchase this property?
That's irrelevant here.
It's irrelevant?
That's irrelevant. I know
I
what
don't think it has everything to do.
I clearly understand what you're trying to do, but this is not relevant to this ordinance. So if there's anyone else who wants to ask questions about this ordinance, raise your hand, please, and I'll recognize you.
What property exactly is this? Is this the property that is over by the tennis courts, or is that the building?
No. 482.
482 Hudson Terrace.
That's the one next door to Borough Hall. I forget what the name is.
So it's a big is this a big building? Okay.
Sir, the mayor and council previously approved the purchase of this by resolution several months ago.
Yeah.
Okay? This is merely so I, conducting the closing, can accept the deeds, record them, and give them the money. That's all this ordinance is.
Okay, so what are you
It's been
gonna...
approved months ago.
Good, so what do you want to do with this building? You're gonna
Okay,
knock it
thank
down?
you, sir, that has nothing to do with this ordinance.
I would think it has everything to do with this ordinance.
Mayor, I need you to tell him thank you very much.
Okay, so it's recorded, but it has some, it's in relation to this ordinance. I think as a taxpayer, everyone has the right to know.
Okay,
details.
we're not connecting on this here. Look, what I'll do is I'll give you an opportunity to read it if you want and come back later, but right now, I want to see if there's anyone else that has questions about
That's
this
fine,
ordinance.
I'll come back later.
Well, actually, are you done? You said that's fine, you're finished?
No, I didn't say, I said,
All right, well, you know
I
what, we
will
need to move,
read
it's
it.
getting late.
I know it's getting late.
All right, I think your time is up and you're not coming back. Is there anybody else?
Well, you just said I could come
Gregorio,
back.
the history is
No, I
there
thought that
in
was
12
changed.
whereas clauses. The procedural history is there. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, guys. Anybody else?
All your questions are answered in that ordinance. Thank you.
No further questions? Thank you. Have a motion to, is there anybody else from the public wishing to ask a question? Have a motion to close the public portion?
So moved.
All in favor? All right, have a motion to adopt this ordinance? Or approve this one?
Second.
All right, have a roll call?
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
O'Shea?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
Okay, next ordinance is 18-17, ordinance to repeal ordinance number 18-07, that amended Code Chapter 2-13 to establish promotional procedures for position of Chief of Police. I'd like to open to the public. We have a motion to open to the public?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If there's anyone from the public who wishes to be heard just on this ordinance, please raise your hand. Yes.
Denny Fair, 49 Irving Avenue. So are you repealing the ordinance in its entirety? And then you started with a new ordinance? You're not amending it, obviously, so you're repealing that ordinance in its entirety?
That ordinance is being repealed.
In its entirety? Okay. Correct?
It's being repealed.
All right.
Anybody else wishing to be heard? Yes, sir.
Dave DiGregorio, 165 Charlotte Place. Councilman Aversa, did you comment on this? Is this the thing that you commented on the last meeting? This ordinance? Or this?
Yeah, I think this is the same one.
This is the one. So what is the exact purpose behind it? Can that be articulated? Why is this necessary?
The ordinance becomes necessary as we passed it intending to have a promotional policy to make the next chief of police. We had entertained that through part of the spring. We implemented it. The PBA, well, actually, I took some comments before we implemented it. We amended it. There was a litigation over it. We appeased everyone and just cut the litigation short by agreeing to make changes. Overall, we've gone out 3 times to ask for police officers who are eligible to apply for the position of police chief pursuant to this ordinance. No one applied.
Why do you think,
Let me finish. Then I learned that no one applied because the PBA took a vote so that no one would apply, which tells me a lot about how people who aren't eligible to be chief get to vote and affect the lives of people who would want to be chief. So rather than go down that rabbit hole, I just think the best thing to do is to repeal it. The police department is off to a real good November, and the second half of October was very good as well, except for a couple of things that happened over the past weekend, which I won't get into right now. I just think Officer in Charge Hill is doing a fabulous job, and
is Councilman Wu in charge? Is he the liaison to the police department?
the ordinance is the ordinance. Councilman Wu is the police commissioner. That has nothing to do with this ordinance. So if there's anything specific to the ordinance itself, please do comment. I'd love to hear what you have to say about it.
For me, it would seem kind of more appropriate for Councilman Wu to make the recommendations on this.
Well, that's fine. If Councilman Wu wishes...
Recommend the same, yeah.
You would recommend the same?
All of the details of this, David.
Well, Councilman Wu and I worked on this together, so
Okay.
I'm not sure what you're getting at there.
No, I'm not getting at anything. I'm just searching for information.
Fishing?
Not fishing, I'm searching for information. Fishing, you need to have some bait. I don't have bait. I am searching for information.
Okay, let's stop right there.
Councilman Wu, is...
No more fishing analogies.
The police commissioner. Is the police union, the PBA, in favor of this?
I've heard that.
Yes or no? Is the police PBA in favor of this resolution?
Yes, they are. Thank you.
I don't know. I don't think they... We never know what they're in favor of. It depends what they're told to do. I don't think they're in favor of the repeal, honestly, but they're not here tonight, and quite frankly...
Well, I would imagine...
Honestly, I bent over backwards to accommodate everyone who wanted to apply for this position. We did it all, and then on top of that, they took a vote that no one should apply for it. So that's just telling me to go pound sand, and we're going to repeal it. And the borough needs to be protected properly with a properly functioning police department. My job is to find a way to do that, which I feel the best way to do that is to right now repeal this ordinance and get ready for the next chief. Public safety is of utmost importance, and I don't feel we're
Do
having
you
it.
think this ordinance is going to advance your relationship with the police department, or not?
My relationship with the police department is...
Or Councilman Wu's,
Look,
because he's in charge.
I'm hoping that our police department is as professional as I am, and that we're here to serve the public, to carry out the oaths of our office, and to make it a safe community. If they wish to join me in that, then I'm happy to be with them. If they don't want to join me in that, then we'll have to find another way to do it. But quite frankly, Officer Hill has done a phenomenal job. He's worked with Jamie, he's worked with Mark, he's worked with us and the Borough Council. I'm very proud of what he's done, and more importantly, I should say that in listening to the tapes, Officer Hill was the only officer on those tapes who actually said, "No, Chief, it's unlawful to do X, Y, and Z." He's the only officer on the tape, which tells me that despite all the pressure that people are under in that police department, this is a righteous man who follows law and order, and that's the kind of person I want leading the police department. My relationship with the PBA is fine. My relationship with the chief, the next chief, is very important, because he's the one that has to set the tone for the PBA, okay? They answer to him, he answers to me.
And the mayor and council.
And the mayor.
See, no, what I'm very confused about is that Councilman Wu is supposed to be in charge of the police department.
No, he's not in charge.
No, excuse me, I didn't mean in charge. Thank you for correcting me. Councilman Wu is the liaison, the commissioner, you would say?
No, he's not a commissioner.
Yes, he Well-
is. He's the police commissioner.
He's the public, yeah, so I did call him that. He's the chairperson of the Public Safety Committee.
So what I would like to know is,
Yeah, I agree.
why has he not been doing that, negotiating, whatever? Why has it fallen to the mayor to do all that?
This ordinance, now, you're far adrift right now, because that ordinance doesn't deal with what you're talking about. I'm happy to talk to you after the meeting about that, but right now...
But it would seem to me that Councilman Wu would be the one who was to forge the
Here's the thing.
relationship.
Here's
And
the
it would
thing.
seem
Your
to
time-
me-
your time is
It
up.
would seem to me that his...
10:49, we want to get moving here. All
Well,
right.
I know you want to get moving.
Anybody else from the public who has anything to say about this ordinance, not about the color of the sky or anything else?
I don't think that you have been forthcoming as to why this ordinance is necessary, and I think you should have some complete honesty. I think that Councilman Wu should be doing his work.
He does.
With
He does
the
a great
police
job. He
department.
does a great job. Do not be hitting Councilman Wu up here, because he does a great job, okay? Thank you.
I never said he didn't do a great job. I never said
That's
that.
what you're doing.
I never said that.
All right, anybody else?
You said that.
No, you said that. Go. It's enough. Yeah.
Carolyn Corr, 49 Summit Street. First of all, I mean, I would assume, especially Gloria and Ed know this already because they were on the council from 2011. You have a standing ordinance. First of all, I believe you should repeal this ordinance. And I think Councilman Wu is doing a fantastic job as the liaison to the police department. He's not a police commissioner, he's a liaison, chair of the police committee. You have a standing ordinance. I know everyone knows this already, or would hope you would know this already. It's on our website. It's under Administration, Police Department, and it covers appointments and promotions. The chief is an appointment. It's not a promotion, it's an appointment. And the police committee makes the recommendation to the mayor and council for the appointment for chief. And for those of us that have been here, and I know that those in the audience have been here just as long as I have, it comes from the police committee, and the police department has always been in favor of that ordinance, always. They have never said anything about that ordinance, and that's a standing ordinance right now. And that's what you would be reverting back to once this ordinance is repealed, and you're going back to the way it was always done.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else from the public? Okay, can I have a motion to close the public?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve this ordinance?
Point of order, discussion?
Yeah.
So, listening to some of the audience and you too, Mayor, as I spoke last time about this in the first reading, I mean, the whole idea of us sitting down and making that promotional ordinance was so that we didn't go back to the way it was before. That's what the flaw was. That's what you disagreed with, the way it was in the past.
It didn't work.
So,
It didn't work. Two sides have to work with each other to make it work, and in our
listen, I know
case...
where you're going.
No, in our
I
case,
see it.
it didn't work.
I don't like it. You're going
The
back.
PDA actually took a vote. The PDA actually took a vote to not participate in this, which defies logic, but it also hurts the careers. I don't want people's careers hurt. I want advancement, okay?
So I'd like to finish my thoughts, and you guys could do whatever you want. But the logic was, when we all agreed to this ordinance, that it would be fair and give everyone, we opened it, we changed it, we did so many things. I was very pleased that we actually all worked together on this to do it. And you want to repeal it to go back to appointing someone, that's what was wrong with the process in the first place.
Ed, I think you've already done
This one?
I think you voted no on this.
I did vote no. I'm talking about the original one. No, I voted no on the first reading.
Oh, Ed.
First reading I voted no on.
And we got to get off this carousel.
You're right, I did, because I didn't agree with, I didn't agree, I agreed with the whole thing, but I didn't agree with not allowing, to the rule to have college degree. That's why I voted no.
4 years.
That's right, that's what I voted.
But then we
no.
fixed
Don't
it.
say I didn't agree with it, Anne Marie.
Wait.
Don't say I didn't agree. I agreed with the substance of everything except for that, and that's why I voted no.
All right, it's getting late.
Don't worry about it.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second? All right, Mary moved, William second. Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilperson Zaversa?
Going back to the way it was, no.
E. Park?
No.
O.
No.
O'Shea? Yes. M. Park?
Yes.
Woo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. It's repealed, yes.
Can I make, I'd like to
Yes.
make a motion? I'd like to make a motion, to appoint William Wu, council president for the remainder of the year.
Second. I recognize that, that's fine, okay. Can I have a roll call?
Councilperson Zaversa?
No.
E. Park?
No.
O.
No.
O'Shea?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Woo?
Recuse.
No, you can vote yes.
I can vote on this?
Yeah, you can vote on
Said
it.
recuse. You don't have to tell him how to vote.
Yes.
Oh, I said he can vote.
I vote yes.
But you recuse.
Why so spiteful? We need a borough council
He
president.
recuses, and you correct
No,
him.
he thought, no, he's allowed to
Tell him how
vote.
to vote?
No, he's allowed to
And
vote.
he's the council president, you have to tell him how to vote?
Be kind. Gloria, be kind, please. All right, for the, let's just take care of this. Appointment for unexpired...
Okay, the next two items, appointed for unexpired term due to vacancy on land use board by the mayor does not require advice and consent of council. In addition, the appointment to fill the positions on the affordable housing ad hoc by the mayor does not require the advice and consent of council.
Okay, so, the first appointment, there's a vacancy in the land use board. I'm appointing Carolina Calderon.
Who's already, you're moving her up, right?
Yeah, I'm moving her up, yeah.
For the unexpired term, correct?
Yes. And, for the ad hoc committee on affordable housing, we'll have the planning board chairperson Russell Perino, Gloria O., Ellen Park, Jamie Barbario, our borough administrator, Debbie Sabari, and Carol McMorrow. Debbie, I just want to make sure you understand, I think you live within 200 feet. It's not going to be a problem for the ad hoc committee, but it might be an issue later on voting, so somebody will have to analyze that. Somebody will have to analyze that, yeah. That's fine. Thank you for doing that, everybody. I appreciate, I think there's going to be,
Okay, please.
okay.
I have a question.
Take it outside if you have to, but I want to finish this
No,
meeting.
there's no waiting,
All right,
sir.
all right.
No waiting, okay?
What I want to say is,
Right now, we got 7 people.
we appointed 7.
No, you didn't.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
one, yeah.
Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no, 6.
You appointed 6.
There's 6. I'll go over them again just to make sure. Planning board chairperson, borough administrator, Gloria and Ellen, Debbie, and Carol.
That's right.
Okay? 6. Sorry if I wasn't clear, but that's 6. I want to thank Mark for sitting here during leaf season, which is better than snow season, I think, right? All right. More predictable. Yeah, so, I'm sorry, you should have flagged me earlier. I would have had you go early. I know you're busy. Did you want to add anything for your,
All's well, move forward, it is leaf season. Somebody's moving the streets longer than average, so...
Yeah, so there's been some great accomplishments this year. We got the gate up at Whitty Field. We're getting a handicap parking up by the Children's Park. The pumping station on Roberts Road looks very nice again. Thank you. I know I was a pain on that one. I apologize, but I just wanted to get that fixed up. It looks a lot better with the plantings. I know there's other accomplishments, but thank you very much. Appreciate everything you guys do. Jamie, did you have anything to say? All's good? All's well?
I guess I gotta take care of some vehicles tomorrow.
Tell them. Get them out of there. Let's have committee reports. Councilman Aversa.
Well, I would give you one if you're booking on one, but I don't have one.
You have a,
Lighting's all good, I just said lighting.
you have a committee.
Lighting's on.
We have our last meeting next month, this upcoming Monday, so I have nothing for Board of Health, so I have nothing to report right now.
Councilwoman O.
I'm going to have to follow up with that grant that we applied for the senior bus, and I will report back.
Councilwoman O'Shea, you're floating,
Want to remind everybody about Veterans Day. Come down to the park by West Bayview Avenue at 11 o'clock, and celebrate our veterans. I looked through the pictures from previous years, and very sad to say, so many of our World War II veterans have been passing away each year. So come down and celebrate those that are there, and join us. And I spoke to the recreation director, Rashad, and asked him if we were having refreshments. He said he had to check with the mayor.
we should have
In
refreshments.
the community center afterwards.
Okay, the senior center or community center?
Community center.
Community center, okay.
Afterwards, okay? So
that's-
hopefully, I'll see everybody
Please join us, it's Sunday morning.
Sunday morning, and it's not supposed to rain.
Yeah, it'll be nice. Councilman Park.
Okay, I'm sorry about Sunday morning. I have my busy schedule, so I cannot be there. Last week I was there, but I'm sorry about it. In advance, maybe someone maybe misunderstand me. Maybe I, lost my seat. That's why I'm angry, and I don't come to over there. So that's my busy schedule over there. So I cannot participate that day. Please understand me about it. And then planning board issues. Last night we passed one ordinance and discussed approved it, and then also we discussed about the annual report last night. Okay.
The annual report?
Yes.
For submission next year, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Councilman Wu?
Just want to thank Mark again and the entire DPW team for working extra on the weekend on Recycle Fest. A lot of people don't know about it, but it's great. They process old hard drives, CDs, all the paper. Also want to thank him for the cleanup job at Trunk or Treat. It just gets overlooked every year, and these guys have to stay behind well after to make sure the park is clean. So, thanks again, Mark.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Don't forget, tomorrow is the Marine Corps birthday, 243rd, founded in 1775. Hug a Marine. All right. Hoorah. You will. All right. Can I have a motion to adjourn? All in favor?
Aye.